Hey everybody. In this video, I want to talk about problems in our society in general. I always hear complaining about what corporations are doing and what politicians are doing. And it's the corporations and politicians who get blamed for everything. Well, I think your average person has a large role to play when it comes to the problems in society. And that's because nothing goes on in our society without the implicit approval of the people. And that's because if the people don't like something, they can just fight back against it. Now let me give you a few examples of what I'm talking about. There's talk of corporations funding politicians, so the politicians can buy elections. But how do they buy the elections? Well, they run ads. It's really the super PACs who run ads, but you see my point. Then people watch the ads, they get influenced by them, and they vote based on that influence. Now, if people didn't do that, this system of legal bribery would not exist. The people have to go along with it. Let me give you another example. There's talk of how Apple will put conflict minerals into their products. And the only way they can do that is if people consistently buy those products. So if people were more picky, nothing like that would ever get made. So it just feels like if people opted out of the system, such as it is, the system would be forced to change. So I want to advance a new concept that I think is crucial to understanding corruption and problems in our society. The concept is the corporate political populist complex, and I realize that's really long and awkward sounding. Once again, it's the corporate political populist complex. The idea is that the average person is complicit in what happens in our society. So the term populace needs to be mixed in there. The average people who go along with the system, who pay their taxes to fund wars, and who fund the corporations who hurt people, are part of the problem. So, to me, there is only one solution, and that is opting out of the system such as it is as much as possible. So any form of non-cooperation is really what I'm talking about here. So what does opting out look like? Well, as for voting, we can opt out of the two-party system by voting for a third party. Maybe not everybody's going to want to do that, but these are the options. Also, self-sufficiency is going to be key when it comes to opting out. So when you're self-sufficient, you have to spend less money in the system, so you support the system less. So my recommendation would be to grow your own food, make your own tools, and barter services as much as possible. And you could also learn how to do with less. Don't buy Apple products or other stuff that uses conflict minerals. You could just have a PC or maybe even a landline phone. You could even live with your friends or close family so that you don't have to call them or write to them. You could also send letters through snail mail to people if you want to keep in touch with them. Now I realize that's not going to work for everybody, but these are just options. Okay. Now I should also mention that when you don't need as much money, of course you might be working less. So that means you won't pay as much in payroll tax. Okay, so if you're self-sufficient, you'll pay fewer taxes, and you'll also pay less sales tax. So you won't pay as much to fund wars, or you won't pay as much to fund, something else that you might feel like the government's doing that you don't approve of. And one other idea that I've had is that people can form buyers' unions that can put incremental pressure on the companies. Now, the idea behind that is that it's just organized boycotting, basically. So if you're going to opt out and become more self-sufficient, maybe that can be done in a group way, so that the companies feel the pressure a little bit more, and then it could be done incrementally, right? You could say to a company, okay, well, we're going to put pressure on you just a little bit until you make this change, and then we'll take some of it off, and then give you a chance to adjust, and then we'll start the boycotting up again when we want you to make the next change. That way, the companies don't feel starved of business or something, and they're getting kind of a reward every time they make a change. They get their business back for a time. So maybe that would incentivize change a little bit more. But anyway, so these are just some options that I feel like people could take. Would they want to take them? Well, I think that's a topic for the next video. Okay, so that's all I have to say in this video. Thank you for watching. You can get in touch with me on Twitter and through email by following the information or using the information in the description below. Thank you.